Hello and welcome. I'm Rachel Marie of Sleepy Santosha. I am a yoga instructor and I have scoliosis. Today I am going to be sharing some of my favorite yoga postures for scoliosis, and I hope that it helps you to feel better and more comfortable in your body. Having scoliosis doesn't necessarily mean that certain yoga postures are off limits to you. You can practice virtually any yoga posture that you desire as long as you're not experiencing any pain. If for any reason you do experience pain during today's practice, please honor your body and back out of the posture. So we're actually going to start today's practice on our backs with our knees bent in constructive rest. Do your best to make sure that your hips are directly in line with your shoulders and that the spine is straight. Hands are resting alongside the body. And just taking a moment to get comfortable, settle in. And then I want you to take your hands and place one on either side of the rib cage and just get a sense of your breath here. A lot of times what happens with scoliosis is because one side of the body is actually more closed off than the other, the breath doesn't flow evenly on each side. So you might notice that one side of the ribs doesn't expand quite as fully as the other side. So I want you to see if you can get each side of your rib cage to expand at the same time. So you should be feeling on the inhale the ribs both sides expanding out, and then the belly gently lifts as the diaphragm allows you to fill with breath. Taking just a few more full deep breaths. You can go ahead and release your hands. And roll yourself over to the side and bring yourself up to sit. And then we're going to transition into cat's breath. So coming onto all fours. The shoulders are stacked directly over the wrists and the hips are directly over the knees. On an inhale, we're going to drop the belly down, arch through the spine, open up through the chest, and then exhale, tucking the tailbone under and slowly rounding through the back body, one vertebrae at a time. Again, inhale, arching, being really mindful of how this feels in your back. Exhale, rounding. There should be no discomfort or strain. Again, inhale, open up through the chest. Exhale, round through the back body. And just continue with this movement at your own pace, letting your breath be your guide. Closing the eyes if that feels comfortable to you. Just actively listening to your body. One more cycle of breath here. And then we're going to tuck the toes under and send the hips up and back for downward facing dog. You can go ahead and stay on the balls of the feet here just to create a little extra length in the spine. Knees can be bent or straight. And then we're actively pressing into all 10 fingertips, creating as much space in the spine as we can. Sending the breath into all the places of the body that might feel a little bit tight. And then looking forward between your hands, slowly walk the feet up toward the front of your mat. We're going to come into a forward fold, Uttanasana. Again, the knees can be bent or straight. And we're just going to let the spine hang here. I'm grabbing opposite elbows if that feels good to you. And we're just going to let gravity do all the work for us here. Creating lots of space between each of the vertebrae. If you do one yoga pose every day, it should be this one for scoliosis. So with each inhale, we're creating space, and each exhale, releasing a little bit further. On your next inhale, we'll slowly rise up to standing in Tadasana, mountain pose. Rolling the shoulders back. We're going to spend just a little bit of time here cultivating proper posture. So we're actively pressing into all four corners of the feet. There's a slight bend in our knees. And then we're gently drawing the belly in and sending the tailbone down toward the mat, creating a neutral pelvis. This is going to help stabilize the spine. Shoulders are dropping down away from the ears. Tucking the chin slightly in to create length in the back of the neck. If you'd like, you can also practice this standing with your back up against a wall, just to get a sense of what it feels like to have your spine nice and straight. Hands can be down at your sides, or you can bring the palms together at your heart in prayer. And then shifting your weight onto your left foot, we're going to lift the right foot up off the mat and hug that knee into your chest. Tailbone is lengthening toward the mat. Spine is lifting and lengthening up toward the sky. If you start to wobble, re-engage your core muscles and use that center of gravity to stabilize you. On an exhale, we're going to send the right foot back and coming into a high lunge. Hips are squaring toward the front of the mat. Left knee is stacked over left ankle. And we're maintaining that engagement in the core muscles to protect the lower back. And when you feel ready, you can inhale, bring the hands up toward the sky, spreading the fingertips wide. Using the breath to soften any places that might be holding tension. And on an exhale, stepping forward. And lowering the right foot back down onto the mat. We'll take that over to the other side. So shifting weight onto your right foot. We're going to lift the left foot up off the mat and hug the left knee into your chest. Keeping the gaze on the ground out in front of you to stabilize you. The higher you lift your gaze, the more challenging it will be to balance. Make sure you're keeping the shoulders down and back. Chest is lifting up toward the sky. Then on an exhale, we're going to send the left foot back, coming into our high lunge. Again, the hips are squaring toward the front of your mat. Belly is drawing in and up, protecting the lower back. When you feel ready, inhale, bring the fingertips up toward the sky. Keeping the breath steady and even on both sides of the body. And then on an exhale, we're going to step forward and release the left foot back onto the mat. Inhale, lift the arms up toward the sky, palms touch, creating lots of space in both sides of the body. And then exhale, folding forward, Uttanasana. And again, just letting the spine hang here, keeping the knees bent if you're a little tight in your hamstrings. Grasping the opposite elbows if that feels good. Take a deep breath in. And exhale out. Surrendering to gravity. and pressing the palms into the mat. We're going to step back into our downward facing dog. And coming up onto the tippy toes, creating a little extra length in the spine. Knees can be bent or straight, whatever feels good for you. We're actively pressing into all 10 fingertips. Shoulders are away from the ears. Spine is long. And release, coming down onto the knees and shifting back into child's pose. Just allowing the spine to rest for a moment. Taking a few deep cycles of breath, breathing deeply into the back body. One more cycle of breath. Inhale. Exhale. Slowly bringing yourself up to sit. We're going to come into Gomukhasana, cow face pose. And for this pose, you might want to have a little bolster handy, a block or a folded blanket to put underneath your hips. I find that Gomukhasana is one of the most revealing poses for scoliosis because it really shows you how uneven the sides of the body can be. So it might be helpful to have this. You can just scoot that right underneath your hips, or maybe just one of your hips, whatever is going to help you keep your sit bones even in this pose. We want the weight to be evenly distributed on each side of the body. So we're going to bend the left knee, and the left foot comes back toward the right hip, and then we're going to take the right leg over top and just kind of stack the knees one on top of the other. Bringing the feet as close to the hips as you can. And yours might not look like this, and that's okay. Find what feels good. Find what gives you a good stretch in your hips. Then we're going to inhale. We're going to bring the right hand up overhead, bend the elbow, and reach back between the shoulder blades. Then we're going to take the left hand, bend the elbow, and reach up toward the right fingertips. And see if you can interlace the fingers. If not, that's okay. Just grab whatever you can reach. Grab your shirt, or you can use a strap or a scarf, whatever is working for you today. And then we're just going to breathe. Just seeing if you can get the breath to be even on both sides of the body. Using that breath to soften any places that might be holding tension. And then exhale, we're going to release the arms. And then walk the hands out in front of us, keeping the spine nice and straight. And then slowly bringing yourself back to center. So we're going to take that stretch on the opposite side. So go ahead and release your legs. And I'm going to turn sideways so you can see me a little better. You may need to adjust your cushion. So this time the right leg is on the bottom, right foot is back by the left hip, and then the left leg is stacked on top. And you might notice that this side is either a little tighter or maybe a little more open than the other side. That is totally normal. Totally normal for things to be different on each side. And then this time we're going to inhale, reach the left hand up toward the sky, and then reach the fingertips between the shoulder blades. And then taking the right hand and reaching for the left fingertips. Again, if your fingertips don't reach, feel free to use a strap or a scarf, or just grab hold of your t-shirt. Again, just tuning into your breath, observing the sensations in your body. Go ahead and release your arms. And we're going to walk the hands out in front of us, keeping the spine long. Breathing as if you could send that breath into your hips. Slowly bringing yourself back up to sit. And then extending the legs out in front of you. You can stay seated up on your cushion if that feels good for you. I'm going to take mine out for now. We're going to come into Paschimottanasana, seated forward bend. So sitting up nice and tall, creating as much length in the spine as you possibly can. And then maintaining that length, we're going to tilt the pelvis forward and slowly walk the hands toward the feet. This isn't about how close you can get your nose to your knees. It's about how long you can be over your legs. If there's a slight bend in your knees, that's okay. If you need to put your cushion underneath your sit bones, that's okay too. The important thing is that your spine is straight here and that you are experiencing a comfortable stretch. As we breathe here, you might notice your body begin to soften, begin to open up a little bit more, and you might notice that you can maybe sink a little bit deeper into the stretch. One more cycle of breath here. Inhale. And exhale. Bringing yourself back up to sit. And then we're going to slowly lower ourselves back down onto our back for constructive rest. Knees are bent, feet are firmly planted on the mat. And do your best to get your hips to be in line with your shoulders, making the spine straight. And then we're going to bring the hands onto the ribs again. Just getting a sense for the breath. Making sure it is even on each side of the body. Releasing the hands. We're going to slowly roll ourselves off to the side and bring ourselves up to sit. Finding Sukhasana, easy seat. Making sure your weight is evenly distributed between each of the sit bones. Spine is tall. Shoulders are away from your ears. And just taking a moment to observe the flow of your breath. And bringing the hands together at your heart. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me today. If you have any questions about yoga, yoga for scoliosis, or any of the poses that we practiced together today, please leave them in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. And I will see you next practice.